talk about activating our inner selves and reaping the bounty of the heart. And this sort of continues our conversation about finding equanimity. And I'm going to start with talking about the state of the energy right now. Right now, we are at the very tail end, from a Vedic perspective, we're at the very tail end of the season of Kapha. And the season of Kapha is that slow-moving season that starts really around, depending upon where you live, around mid-November, when it starts to get considerably colder and things slow down. And it lasts all the way into the very end of spring. And Kapha energy is that earth and water energy. And it's slow moving. It's sort of a contemplative time. And it's involved, it transforms and changes like everything does, but it tends to be slower changes, gentle sprouting, and in the spring, those sorts of gentle transformations. And that now is giving way to a dominant pitta energy. And pitta, excuse me, is the energy that is made up of the elements of fire and water. So as you can imagine, again, when we think of these elements, we want to think of, really concretely, what is fire like? And you'll usually, or in this case, water, what is it like? What are the properties? And then you'll be able to better understand sort of the Vedic approach to this, because it's very down to earth practice. So the Pitta energy, the fire and water energy, is characterized by being sharp and penetrating. It's also light, and that would be lightweight. Okay. And it's pungent, which you can think of as being sort of spicy and hot. It's also has the property of heat, and it also has the property of light, not just lightweight, but light that reaches our eyes. So one of the organs in the body that is tightly associated with pitta energy is the eyes, or are the eyes, because they're related to light. And during this energetic time that we call pitta, or moving into summer, water that was once ice, then became, or maybe became snow, maybe became slush. Then last few months, it became sort of this flowing property. Now it transforms into steam. So the heat from the fire transforms the water into steam. And other properties of pitta energy are that it spreads. And it actually can spread very, very fast. It has driving properties. It can also be unpredictable. So what's a candle that gets knocked over can then burn down a house, right? And they're both properties of fire. And wherever fire is, whether it's as a candle or as a campfire or as a forest fire, it really tends to dominate the everything around it. It tends to be the center of focus. And there are a lot of people, myself included, who tend to think that the time of humanity that we're in now is certainly characterized by pitta energy. And some people like to time it from about the Industrial Revolution to the present, at least in the West, I should say this. From the Industrial Revolution to now, I tend to think this whole pitta trend started way back, back when humans started engaging in agriculture and storing grain and those sorts of things. So it built up, and it now has really been accelerated. But in either way, either perspective, it seems pretty clear that we're living in a time that is very dominated by pitta, where the things that are really valued are power, domination, and sort of being the center of attention. So it is a really powerful energy. All the energies are powerful, but it's powerful in a more fast and sharp way. But it is powerful in both some of these negative ways, but it is also a very comforting energy. And it is also basically life-giving. Almost all the wisdom traditions that I know of really talk about the idea of the spark of life. That that fire gives us life. Fire is life, and in Vedic tradition, we have Agni, which I talked briefly about last time. It's basically our inner fire, and the Agni needs to be managed carefully so it doesn't get out of control or die out. And when the Agni dies, is when the individual dies. And when the Agni is initially sparked, is when we are conceived. So, fire and water or pitta is also very much associated with transformation. Um, flower buds transform into flowers, and everything's transforming all the time. We understand that, but the transformation that we witness with pitta energy tends to be really dramatic, and big. I mean, there's a big difference between a little bud and a flower, whereas the transition of kapha energy, that earth and water energy, goes from November to technically June 21st. And so it's a much more gradual transformation. It's noticeable when you look at it from a distance, but while you're in it, it isn't particularly noticeable. But we notice pitta energy when it's around, it dominates. So what does that energy look like in our world now? And we were talking about this a little bit before when we did our introductions and prior to that. And I've been talking about this sort of concept for the last couple sessions. And initially, I felt like the left-hand picture, the one that looks like total chaos, was really dominant. And then last session, I really felt a little buoyed by the idea that we had begun to build a resistance. And so that is sort of counterbalancing some of that. And last month, I talked about letting go. And as we let go, we tend to feel a little bit more awakened. So I feel like, about a month or so, people started waking up and started taking all the things that they'd contemplated over the winter and started to put them out in their minds and their hearts and began to calm down a little bit and feel a little bit more awakened. So now that we're awakened, um, where does that leave us? Well, we may be awakened, but things are heating up, right? So how does that feel now? To me, and what I'm observing, and what I listen to a lot of supposed pundits, my go-to person is Heather Cox Richardson, and I felt really vindicated after, I was wondering, where we were at. And in her talk, in Heather Cox Richardson's talk last night, she basically said exactly what I was writing in this deck, and that is that people are going to start feeling really, really overwhelmed. Everything is really overwhelming. Things are moving at us quickly, and to expect this and realizing that. The forces that are around us, just the basic energetic forces, really favor this, really overwhelming feeling, given the energy. There's a lot of feelings out there, and so I feel everything from outrage to exhaustion, to feeling supported, to being hopeful, to being angry, and so that's really how I see the state of the energy right now, and it's up to us to figure out how to navigate through all this overwhelming chaos. And to do that, I'm suggesting, given where we are in the energetic cycle, that this is a really good time for us to pay attention to some activation. And last time I talked a lot about letting go. And I said, by letting go, we open up the space for transformation. And that's what, I feel like late spring is a really good season for. But then once we've opened up this space, it's up to us really to activate this transformation that we all hope for and envision. And really the word activate comes from the word active, which is characterized by action rather than by contemplation or speculation. It's not better or worse than contemplation, especially helpful during those kaphas, those slower months. The energy favors that, but now the energy favors a little bit more action. And how do we do that? We figure out a way to basically harness some of this pitta energy that's working inside us and is around us. And just a reminder, I don't know how much both of you know about the chakras, but I've shown this slide before, so you probably know a little bit. These are the energy centers in the Vedic tradition. And the energy that I'm talking about here, the pitta energy, all this energy exists on all these levels, our mind, our body, our spirit, our universal body, the seasons, the time of day, etc. And in our human body, the pitta energy is manifest in the solar plexus chakra, which is the bottom one of the ones that are circled. It's represented by the color yellow. And do note that that's the center of our strength and our power. So it's not surprising that this would be the time in human history that's associated with pitta energy, because there's a lot of power struggles going on right now. And the other thing I want you to note is that the solar plexus chakra is located just below the heart chakra, and that's the center of love of self, others, the world, and it's a connection point to the upper energy centers. So the first thing, and the reason I showed you the heart on that last slide was because I view the key to harnessing our fire or our pitta energy being the willingness and the activation of our own energetic selves to activate the heart. And so this is sort of a two-part process. The heart center is really the gateway to all these higher energies. And these higher energies are where we are going to find higher thought, our wisdom, which really seems to be lacking out in the world right now, our spiritual sense, our ability to think, all the things that are sort of located at the front of the brain. And the heart mediates between those higher energies and then our more bodily focused energies, those lower energies. And it is also the center of discernment, which I think is really important because, well, I'll show you, I'll talk about that in a couple slides down. But it also, the heart transforms the energies from down below, all these physical needs like safety, security, food, shelter, all these things get transformed and magnified through the heart as they make their way up through our energy centers. So processing this pitta energy through the heart then activates all these higher energy centers. And if we don't go through this process of sending our energy through the heart, and I've talked about this somewhat before, but I think it's really apropos now, and that is, what happens to this pitta energy that doesn't get processed through the heart if somehow it just jumps up to the throat energy center? Well, if you look at this this illustration, you will see that the energy tip, the sort of main byway of the energy system is from lower energies up to higher energies, but also higher energies make their way down to lower energies. There are circular motions. And so it is sort of a two-way street, but the dominant direction is from lower energy centers and up. And so when you get to the solar plexus chakra, you bypass, it's called energetic bypassing or spiritual bypassing. If you choose to bypass the heart and go right to the throat chakra, in other words, you take all this energy from these lower energy centers, push it up through the strength and power energy center, Don't mediate it, don't sort of process it, and then move it up to the throat chakra. What's going to happen? You're going to start talking all this angst that is related to lack of safety and security, that's mired in sex and strength and power. And it results in, I think, a lot of what we're seeing now, just sort of unmitigated yakking that can wreak havoc in the world. So then this energy goes through the throat chakra, and then it drops down to the root chakra, and you wind up with a vicious circle that's very, very difficult to break in many people. So when the pitta energy does get processed through the heart, what happens? Well, you then can access those higher energy centers that I was talking about. Uh, all these lower emotions, all these concerns about safety and security in our past get processed so that they can be supportive for us. Okay. And we can be supported by these lower energy centers and then activate these higher energy centers. In short, what the heart energy center does is allow us to discern and sort things out. And here's a quote from Socrates, who I don't quote very often, but I found this, and he said that obscurity is dispelled by augmenting the light of discernment, not by attacking the darkness. And to me, this speaks to my favorite adage from a Vedic tradition, from Ayurveda, and that is that like increases like and opposites balance. Something so simple can be really powerful. So in other words, the more negativity you pile in, the more darkness you pile in, the darker it's going to get. And joy and compassion and love cannot survive in the darkness, and hate and authoritarianism cannot survive in the light. So it's in our interest to augment the light. So how do I suggest we approach this? I think because of the kind of energy that's inherent in this pitta energy and because of what we're dealing with out in the world right now, ritual becomes pretty important. And I think it's helpful to pay attention to rituals, or what you could also call them routines. And because it becomes a counter to all the chaos. So stopping, breathing, and listening to yourself, and asking yourself in this moment, what do I need to be fully present? Do I need my pitta energy to be ignited? Do I need to calm my rage? Do I need to soothe my sadness? And by doing this, you're actually activating your heart, and you are accessing all your energy centers. Other sorts of rituals that I think can be really helpful are breath work. And I suggest doing breath work every single day, because breath work is one of the most direct ways that we can have an effect on our energy centers. It's the closest pathway to our energy centers. And we did a little bit of soft belly breathing when we started this session, so that's always good. Lion's breath and deep diaphragmatic breathing can be very helpful. I know I have a lion's breath. I'm pretty sure I have lion's breath out on the resources website. So getting into the habit of routinely paying attention to your breath. The other piece is to know what it feels like and what it looks like when your pitta energy is balanced versus unbalanced. And so when your pitta energy is balanced and it's flowing nicely through the heart, you tend to be responsible and you recognize and honor boundaries, you're confident, all sorts of good things. When it's unbalanced, we see anger, blame, resentment, rage, aggression, self-doubt, follow conventions to look like others, a tendency to join cults, swings in emotional extremes. Does this sound familiar? Does to me. I see a lot of it out in the world right now. And then from a physical perspective, if you're dogged by upper digestive issues, especially things like GERD, or you have chronic fatigue, hypertension, all these sort of transformative properties type of organs. If you have maladies there, that often can be related to unbalanced pitta energy. And then, of course, there's always food. Pay attention to what you eat this time of year. And you can, if your pitta energy is too high, which it often is for me right now, consider cooler foods, nutrient dense foods, mild flavors over sharp flavors, which is tough for me. But I'm working on it. This is the first year I've really decided to work on my pitta energy because there is so much pitta maladjusted pitta energy around me that I feel it's really important for me. And do pay attention. It's really easy to just snack a lot and not have mealtime routines. So pay attention to that. And this is a suggestion to really pay attention to and honor your daily and weekly routines and rituals. So this and that is because the energy that we're dealing, the dominant energy sort of pushes us off kilter just by its nature. I know for me in the summer, my routines tend to go out the window, and I'm really going to try to inject a little bit more routine and rituals into my days. So that includes your daily meditation, even if it's just a few minutes. If you could do it at the same time every day, that can be helpful. This year, I'm going to try in the summer to maintain regular meal times, which is for me pretty easy in the other seasons, but in the summer, it's been tough for me. Paying attention to eating mindfully, doing your activity and exercise, um, do some sort of scheduled activity, even though like I'm in the garden a lot more. So I say, well, I get a lot more exercise, so I don't have to go to the gym. I'm realizing that it would be helpful for me to go to the gym, really primarily for the routine of it, to sort of get me back into a routine so I can manage the energy better. And of course, maintaining a sleep schedule and maintaining sleep hygiene is especially important this time of year because it's so difficult to manage because there's so much light. For me, at least, my sleep hygiene is really difficult this time of year. And then, of course, stop, breathe, and listen again. And so, what will this buy us? Or, what will we get from this? How we will, what will we reap from all this? Well, we'll get access to all those higher energies that I talked about. And this is a big piece. Those higher energies then are supported by those lower energies because they're healthy, they're processed, they're moving, they're not all stale. And so we can step out into the world and speak our truth, knowing we are supported by our ancestors, by our tribe, that we are safe and secure, that we have friends. And then we begin to be able to exchange between these lower and higher energies. Our self-expression can inform our connection to our tribe and vice versa. In other words, we begin the process of transformation. And as we transform ourselves, like a meadow transforms from grass to a blazing, beautiful meadow in the middle of summer, we too can transform ourselves because remember, we are made up of three bodies, and everything that we become is manifest in our subtle energy, which is then connected to the energy of all people. And as we step out, remember that we can take small steps in this direction. We don't have to do it all at once. So we can just be one person doing what we need to do. And remember, like increases like, so things can grow. And our resistance to what's happening in the world is growing, and it will grow if all of us take care of our energy and really activate and put ourselves out as really healthy, vibrant people. And the other piece is that this process of clearing up our energy through the heart, keeps us both out of our heads continually, which is a place that a lot, I myself included, and especially the last few months, it's really to get easy to start imagining what that could happen. So this process will keep us out of our heads all the time because we'll have access to all our energy. But it'll also keep us out of the morass, or shall I say, excuse my French, but keep us out of the shit. Okay, because the lower energy is associated with all these bodily functions, and it'll allow us to then um, channel ourselves towards this life of equanimity that I've been talking about all this season. And we'll be able to look at the world with a lot more clarity, and we'll be able to build the world that we really want to build. And I want to wrap this part of the session up with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, who was somebody who he was a Buddhist monk, and he understood, he died not too many years ago, but he understood clearly working from the heart as well as activating. And he was very active in the resistance to colonialism in Vietnam, specifically US colonialism. And he was very involved in the peace talks. And so he was really out there being active. And so he understands struggle. And he said, the object of our practice should first of all be yourself. Your love for the other, your ability to love another person depends upon your ability to love yourself. And that all comes from the heart. So, on that note, I'm going to invite you to join me in a meditation. I know it's getting, oh, actually, our time is pretty good. It's better than I thought. We're doing okay then. We're right on schedule. So, what I'm going to do is ask you to get comfortable. And if you would, if you need anything like a blanket or anything to make you comfortable, please go ahead and find it and get it now. And I'm going to cue up music here, see if I can get this right, and have to share the music. You guys, could you do a thumbs up if you hear the music, Anne or Risa? Hear music yet? Yes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start the meditation. I'm going to turn my video off. So if you need to somehow communicate with me, great. Thanks for the thumbs up, Risa. Do it through the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and hide my video. And if you guys could turn your video off as well. And you're all muted, so that's cool. Thank you, guys. Okay. What we're going to do here is go through a guided visualization. And this is a type of meditative experience where I will guide you through a journey. And on that journey, you will meet a wise guide. And I chose this one because I feel like the safe space piece of this relates to these lower energies that we're activating. And the wise guide piece relates to the higher energies that we've been exploring. And they all get sorted out in the heart, and they are connected through the heart. And so I'm hoping that this will shed some light on what would be needed in order for us to be activated. So I'm going to invite you to just get comfortable. Sit or lie in a comfortable position and feeling your body against the floor or against the chair. Allowing your body to soften and just let yourself be. And now allowing your awareness to move to your breath. Becoming aware of the inhale, becoming aware of the exhale. Breathing in, you feel calm. Breathing out, you're at peace. Breathing in, feeling calm. Breathing out, at peace. Breathing in and exhaling. Preparing to go on a mental journey. And now I'd like you to imagine yourself in a very special place. This place can be a real place, someplace you've actually been. Be a beautiful spot in nature. Could be a comforting place in your own home. Your special place may be an imaginary place. It could be indoors, could be outdoors. It doesn't really matter. But if more than one place comes to mind, just allowing yourself to just choose one and staying there. This is a place where you are comfortable and safe. And noticing the qualities of this space, and appreciating the space with all your senses. Seeing, touching, and feeling the entire environment you're in. Hearing the sounds. You may smell aromas. You may feel the air on your skin. Experiencing the ground securely underneath you in this safe, sacred, and very special space. Noticing what you're wearing, if you have something on your feet. Noticing the time of year, the time of day. Noticing how old you are in the space. Are you alone, or are you with another person, or with other people? Noticing colors that surround you. You may even notice the temperature. Noticing all the qualities of this place that make it safe and comfortable for you. And noticing where you experience that safety and comfort in your body. Begin to look around you, noticing if there is anything else in the space that would make it safer for you. Perhaps something that you need to remove from the space, or maybe something you would like to bring in. If so, go ahead and do it right now, and then notice how your body feels now in this space. And now you notice a shape or a form slowly moving toward you. Moves near you. This is your wise guide, someone you know or a figure from a scripture. Maybe it's a man or a woman, could be a child, an animal, maybe a color, maybe a presence, or perhaps a feeling. Accept whoever or whatever comes. Noticing how old it is, or how young it is. Noticing how large or how small it is. This person or this creature or presence is your wise guide. It's your inner self, your spirit guide, whatever name feels right for you. And as this being or presence approaches you, greet it as you feel appropriate. Maybe by words, by thoughts, or touch. Taking a little time to become comfortable in its presence. Does it have a name? Knowing that this wise guide is here to help you and to serve you. The wise guide may have a message for you. Listen to this message. Accept this message. And learn from this message. As you sit with your wise guide, you feel free to ask questions. Maybe some advice, maybe some clarification, or maybe even a solution to a problem. Your wise guide may even have a gift for you. And if a gift is offered, you may accept it. Spending some time with your wise guide and really enjoying its being in its presence. And asking whatever questions you may have and accepting any answers that come. And if no answers arise, knowing that they will reveal themselves when the time is right. So now sitting for a few moments, a few minutes with your wise guide. in a moment, I will be asking you to say goodbye to your wise guide. Begin to give thanks, knowing that you can return anytime you need to. And gently and carefully, you begin to allow this image to fade as you say goodbye and give thanks to your wise guide. Now, when you're ready, at your own pace, you become aware of your body again. You're in your safe, comfortable place. You relax there for a bit, noticing what you see and hear and resting for a while. And you begin to become aware of our common space together. You begin the journey of returning back to our space, knowing that you are better for this journey, and so you are. We begin to feel your feet, your body, your torso. Wiggle your fingers. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes, coming back to our space together.